I grew up in Ohio, lived a pretty normal life, nothing out of the ordinary. My family was never religious, and I've never been the type to believe in ghosts or spirits. That kind of stuff just never crossed my mind. Then my uncle passed away. He was my dad's older brother, but they weren't particularly close. I barely knew the guy, but my dad took it hard. Since I was the only one in the family without a crazy work schedule, I got pulled into helping with the funeral arrangements. Nothing major, just running errands and sorting out details. My younger sister, Hannah, helped too. She's more sentimental about family than I am. One of my tasks was picking a burial spot. My dad had a specific cemetery in mind, so I had to go meet with the staff there. Hannah came along, not wanting me to go alone. It was one of those old cemeteries, not abandoned but not exactly well kept either. A mix of worn-down graves and some newer ones. The place had this odd balance of peaceful yet rundown. We got there around 6 p.m., late fall, just as the sun was setting. A light fog had rolled in, not unusual, just chilly autumn air. After talking to the staff, they showed us a few available plots. We wandered around, looking at the spots, and I guess I got a little too into it. At some point, I realized I had wandered pretty far from the main area. The cemetery stretched back deeper than I'd thought, and the further you went, the less maintained it was. That's when I saw him, a man on the far side of the cemetery, weaving between the graves. At first, I didn't think much of it, maybe a worker or another visitor. But something about him caught my attention. His legs, they weren't moving right. At first, I thought he had a limp, but the more I watched, the more I realized it was weirder than that. His knees seemed to bend the wrong way, not in a broken, painful way, but just unnatural. I stared, trying to make sense of it. Maybe the fog was messing with my eyes. But the longer I looked, the more unsettled I felt. Not scared, just uneasy. "Hey, man, you good?" I called out. No response. He just kept moving, slow and steady, weaving between the headstones. I don't know why, but I took a few steps closer. Maybe to get a better look, maybe to convince myself I wasn't seeing things. But the weirdest part, no matter how much I moved toward him, the distance never seemed to change. He stayed just as far away. Then Hannah's voice cut through the air. "Danny, what are you doing?" She had doubled back to find me, sounding annoyed. I turned to answer her, just for a second. When I looked back, he had stopped, standing still between two gravestones, just staring in my direction. I pointed. "Do you see that guy?" Hannah squinted, then shook her head. "Who?" That cold feeling crawled up my spine. "That guy, he was just walking around a second ago." She looked at me like I was losing it. "Danny, there's no one there." Before I could say anything, the cemetery workers caught up to us. One of them, an older guy in a heavy coat, asked if everything was okay. I asked if anyone else was supposed to be here, any other workers or visitors. He shook his head. "No, just you folks. We close to the public after 5. I turned back. The man was gone, not walking away, not moving into the fog. Just gone, like he was never there. A tight, heavy feeling settled in my chest, like my body knew something was wrong before my brain could fully process it. Hannah rolled her eyes. "You probably just saw a statue or something. But I know what I saw." We picked a plot and left. I didn't say anything else about it because, really, what was I supposed to say? That I saw a guy walking with backwards legs, and then he disappeared. Yeah, okay. That night, lying in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The way he moved, the way the distance between us never seemed to change, the way he just stopped when I looked away. I don't believe in ghosts. But I do believe in things that don't make sense. And this didn't make sense.